Welcome, Dr. Karyn Gordon, talking about a topic I could not wait to get to. So I was on a flight to Tampa a couple of months ago, and it was the September edition of Vanity Fair magazine, which we're going to have a link to on our website at cityline.ca. The article was all about Tinder and digital dating and what it's done to interpersonal relationships. So I got off the plane like this, just shaking,
yeah,
thinking, okay, I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. The world, the landscape has changed. Things have changed. And there's a lot going on in the dating world. People are now dating from their smartphones, and which could be a positive experience. But from the article, you get the sense that a lot of the essential parts of communication are actually changing.
Yes.
So we thought we would talk a little bit about this. It's the first in a series. We'll chip away at it a bit by bit. Today we want to focus on dating and how it's changed.
And how it is totally changed. So people that are actually married, you might be very happy, a little bit more happy today that you were married when you actually understand the culture. And so actually I did a survey with our audience around if you were single, so those who are in committed relationships, if you were single, would you use the online dating? Yeah. And 60% said yes.
Yeah, well, for sure. That's how people are dating now, right?
But but this is the interesting thing. Those are people that are actually already committed. Okay. For people that are single, would you use it? 70% said no.
Really?
Yeah. So there's still this resistance to it. But here's the interesting thing, and everyone's thinking, oh, is she talking about me? Because you know if you're single or not, and what you actually said in your answer. But the thing about it, things have changed. The landscape have actually changed. So really, about 5 years ago, mobile dating kind of went mainstream here in the world, and 100 million people are using now online dating.
Wow, that's
100 million.
Lot.
That's a huge number. So one of the things that my takeaway, and I kind of had the same feeling too when I read the article too, going, oh my gracious, it's stuff that we know, but kind of to see it all in that article, and it's a lengthy article, is that the landscape has changed. And so my whole perception on it and takeaway on it is we have to understand with what's going on. Let's really understand how the game has changed. And then as adults, we can decide, okay, am I going to partake? Am I not going to partake?
Right.
And if I'm not going to partake, then what am I going to do different? So let's kind of use this as information, as power. That's kind of my take.
It makes you feel a little bit less hopeless.
Yes. Otherwise going, crap, what is going on in our world, right? So, okay, so the first takeaway, lesson kind of wide, and I'm going to gear a little bit more for women, is realize that it's really all about instant gratification.
Right.
It's all about instant gratification, that sex has become very, very easy. And so, the article talks about, if people are using, let's say, a Tinder site or one of the online sites, back in the day, you would have to woo somebody. You'd have to kind of go and meet them and woo them, and you go talk to them at the bar and try to kind of develop that kind of connection. Now, with some of these online sites, you're just kind of like swiping it. You can, choose like 15 different people and decide who you want to have sex with in the next 2 hours.
That's right. And who was doing the wooing traditionally? It was men.
Yes.
So you don't have to go to the bar or the club anymore. You don't have to go to the bar. You can just sit in your living room swiping and saying, I want, who do I want to connect to? And you are pretty much, you can have sex 2-3 hours from the time that you're swiping. And it's actually happening. So
and it is happening.
It's one thing to say you can do it, but it is actually happening. So a lot of the guys that were interviewed in the article were saying it's actually too available. Like, why would I say no?
Why would I say no? The's no rejection. Right,
you get no rejection. It's through a screen, and who cares?
Right, so it's kind of taken away a lot of that kind of anxiety from it.
Yeah.
And so it's all about easy, easy, easy. And what's interesting is when I do a lot of speaking in companies, I do generational training. What's very fascinating is that Generation Y, so Generation Y is kind of like the 20 to 35-year-olds.
Yeah.
That is kind of part of the culture. It's all about instant gratification. They've grown up in entire instant gratification. And so what's interesting is we see that from everything from phones, like buy now, pay later. You want the phone now, you don't have to pay for it for 6 months.
Yes.
To, so we're seeing that kind of as a culture. So how sex has changed is very consistent with other parts of the culture.
It sure is.
It's not like this is like the one kind of anomaly over here. It is kind of consistent. So it's all about instant gratification, and sex has become very, very easy.
So I've often asked the question, because as simple as the fact that my kids, if they wanted to watch cartoons at 10 p.m. on a Sunday, they could, which was very different from my generation.
Right.
I've often posed the question in my head, what is this doing to you?
Right.
Knowing that when you want to hear a song, you go put it on your iPod.
You can have it right now.
Or when we had to wait for the radio station to play the song, or go out and buy the cassette tape.
Oh my goodness, back in the day, Tracy.
Yeah, and some people are thinking, never mind, the 8-track. Buy the 8-track, the LP,
or the
album, the record.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that's actually doing to your level of patience, to the way you think, to the way you put value on things.
Right.
Because sometimes when you get things quickly, the value goes down.
Well, okay, so here's the irony. We could keep going on with this. The irony, we're also in a time where everyone's trying to study happiness. We've got universities now that are starting up all departments now in terms of what makes somebody happy. The irony with this whole topic is one of the best ways to actually develop happiness is actually to instill delayed gratification.
Right. Wait and work for it.
Work first, and then the payoff comes out later.
Right.
Okay. So this is so interesting that we're in this whole world change where everything's about instant, including sex.
Yeah.
And yet people actually want to learn to be happy.
And they're wondering why aren't we happy?
Why not happy? You have to become happy. You actually have to learn how to delay gratification.
That is so interesting.
So that's just kind of one piece. The other piece is that, and this is very interesting of how it's actually changed dating in the landscape, is that because we have all of these now, people have too many choices.
Yeah.
So what's happening is that we're creating a culture of short-term dating. People are afraid to commit.
Why would you when you think something better is going to be coming along on your screen?
Exactly. I don't want to say yes to this person because is this person hotter? Is they more attractive? Are they going to have So what's happening is that people are frozen to actually commit. So we're seeing a lot of short-term dating.
Right.
And that is going to be, again, as people are nodding here in the audience, that is very important for us to understand. This is the play of how the landscape is now changing.
Right.
So when you see somebody that doesn't want to commit, now you actually understand why.
Because there's always this grass is greener sort of mentality.
Yes.
Now we are going to, I know we've just scratched the surface. Yes. We're actually going to continue this conversation a little bit later. We're going to talk about some of the dating rules with Winston C. because he went online and spoke to a few people. And you and I are going to continue to talk about what this might mean for female self-esteem.
Yes.
And male self-esteem.
Yes, absolutely.
And the connectedness of human beings. So we'll keep that on ice for now.